What's up, guys? Hope you're having a good one. Just wanted to go through my process here. Today we're going to create a custom 8x10 for wrestling legend, the Brooklyn Brawler, Steve Lombardo. We have a 8x10 project, a collage of all his different gimmicks throughout the years. So first off, Brooklyn Brawler, you kind of think it's going to be a little bit harder to grab photos on this one, just because of the fact that, you know, mid-'80s wrestlers, we didn't have digital cameras or anything fancy or, you know, anything like that. So definitely going to take a hit here when it comes to photos. But what I basically just did is Googled Brooklyn Brawler. I hit the tools button and then I went to large to see what's available. I went and downloaded a couple of these to my desktop. See here, I've downloaded those. Went back and found a couple of good ones, so we're going to go ahead and just start that. So we start with a plain black background. I kind of thought Brooklyn Brawler. I also Googled some images of Brooklyn, the city, that I want to throw in the background. Not really too much to an 8x10, to be honest. It's usually a background, some type of cover, some type of blend in the background. That's what I thought for the background in general before you get the Brooklyn look, is just a kind of a smoky, cloudy background like this, which I can change colors to any color we need for the situation. So it's not the biggest thing. That color is a little harsh, but once we get into it, we can see what it's like and how it plays out with the background. So like I said, we've got the Brooklyn kind of feeling this vibe type of situation. Maybe we'll move it down here and do an overlay. They say kind of just adjusting and kind of just going through the different blend modes. And then for photos, I've got a couple different options. Standard baseball, and then I've got that one I kind of like. And then maybe this one centered here. I don't know. I'm trying to also have got to add a photo of him as Kimchi. So if you guys didn't know that, that's a little bit of a spoiler there. But so basically going through here, blending the various photos, and you know, because this is a custom wallpaper, it doesn't have to be super precise or anything to that nature. The photos, while I do like to use a larger photo because this is going for a print, a good way to blend the photos and to kind of mask the fact that you might be using something that's not of high quality would be the effects I'll be throwing on here afterwards. So just do something like that. And then I also have a bigger Brawler photo that I kind of maybe want to put right about here. And then do some erasing. Give it that kind of a blend. And it's a lot of my work, and especially in custom 8x10s, is kind of, you just kind of feel for it. It's not an exact science. It's not a race, you know, erase 20% here and erase 20% there. It's literally at least the way I do it is a blend. Sorry, Fink. We don't want to keep Fink it there. But blending it enough to, you know, get rid of some of that background image of some of the other guys. And then, like I said, with this, I actually think I want to move Kimchi into the middle of that. So maybe put him in the layer under. Moving that more that way. Moving that more this way. Let's go through here and erase. make sure to up the opacity to almost 100 so that I can make sure I get all this extra stuff out the way. Now for these, because they are getting printed out and they are going to be used for an autograph signing, I believe he did want a bit of the black stuff on the bottom here to give room for the autograph. So we do that. Make sure all this gets covered. Make sure that this is all removed. Let's make this a little bit bigger. And the thing also about the 8x10s and the thing about maybe the speed I'm working with, some of you who are beginners might have a little bit of a slower time on things, and there's nothing wrong with that. You know, I have been around and been doing stuff like this for 10 years now, officially as a company. Before that, I was just a guy who was still doing the same thing, but just not considered an entity or a company or whatever you want to consider myself these days. But something like this, and a little bit like that. And what we're going to do here, if you see on the side, on the right side here on my layers, I'm going to actually group this together. So Control G, make a group, so that everything isn't destroyed by merging it. I'm going to merge this group to make a copy on top. And I always try to keep my root files or my root sources so that when and if I have to go back, if I make an adjustment and I send out the final copy and my client is, you know, maybe he'll send me back the edited, you know, the sample, and tell me to, you know, move the one with the cigar more prevalent to the middle. See, so if I had merged all the layers without making a duplicate, I'd kind of be screwed. Nope. Wrong layer. So actually go back. It should have been the other layer. So we just go through and erase everything here. And what I'm going to actually do is I'm going to make another duplicate copy. And close that one out, and I'm going to kind of shrink everything down here a little bit. Control, do something like this. Get rid of the rough edges. Smudge it out there. Can just remove some of that, and then what we're going to do here is we're going to go back. I've got that yellow or that orange. And kind of do that. Extend it all the way to the top. Do one on top. Do one on bottom. We'll take the duplicate of that, put it on top of the main images. Give it a blend. So we'll start here in color, which isn't too bad. I mean, you think Brooklyn Brawler, you think the very grungy, dirty brown type color. So maybe we will change this hue. I really can't play around with as many colors as you like. That's why I kind of like this hue bars. It's just here. Just kind of give you an adjustments, kind of a feel for things. There's that brown we were talking about, that kind of dirty, maybe not so much on the saturation, maybe lower that a little bit. Let's go ahead and delete this other layer and this layer right here. Now this is kind of orange, so again, Brawler was a lot more of a brown tone. So I'll delete these 2 layers on top. Do that. Grab a brown or a lighter brown, lighter shade. Kind of just eyeball it. Do something like that. You can actually put it up, fill the layer, and do color above it. Go through. See if we like any of these adjustments. Just gotta remember not to go too dark, and then we just lose everything on the photo. That looks nice. Can always do that. Can do a final layer up top. Now originally I really wanted to do something with this Brooklyn city, which was this right here. Oh, which was that right there, but honestly I really am starting to like this on its own. So what we're gonna do here is I've made a layer on top. It's got that, and I'm gonna go and remove these layers down here to where we just get to the plain photo. I think I'll duplicate the color layer, pop it on top, and then do an overlay so that we get more color. Like I said, it's not really specific to any number. Just kind of slide the scale and see what looks good. As you'll find as you're working through with clients, and the more you play around with the adjustments and the layers, the better off things will get. Now I'm gonna go, I have this Topaz Labs plugin filter, which is number 5. I'm not sure exactly where it can be found, but if I do remember, I will let you guys know. But as you can see on the screen, it's got kind of a cheat code. It's got different adjustments. So if you hold, that's the before, and then if you click on, that's the after. And actually we'll try to go 50% so you can kind of see how that's the after and that's the before. I mean, that's the before and that's the after. So if you look at it like that, this has tons of different adjustments and different filters you can add on top. It's got a crisp, it's got, you know, ghost effects, it's got a ton. If you guys can find it still, I don't remember where I got it. But it's kind of a cheat. Like I said, it's got different bypass and color effects and tones and whatnot. And if you see my graphics, I do use this a lot. It is really much of a cheat code. But alright, now I'm just going to use this clarity filter. Hit OK. Kind of goes on the top. Because it's not like I said, just kind of gives it a more bold out glossy effect, like using it on my posters. Just be careful. Too much of the effect, and there's a way to adjust, but too much of the effect just gives an overall bad look, and it's not the best look. But to make it more natural and not look like you're using cheap plugins, you kind of want to also blend. But I kind of like this. I like the way it's coming out. Let me go ahead and still have the Brooklyn. Let me do an overlay. So I'm gonna put this on overlay. Kind of go through the different modes and kind of see how that looks. So that gave me an idea. So maybe if we do something like, let's go and let's put it on normal. So if we do something like normal, maybe put it under that top layer to give it kind of a background. Set the erase tool here. Let's get some of this off. Something like that. Do some erasing. Put kind of the city in the background, or at least that's the adjustments. It's not exactly what I wanted. Let's get there. A little bit more eraser. Go back to so as you can see, hitting the up and down arrows and just kind of adjusting through things and seeing where we're at with stuff. Something you can't really, there we go, kind of like that. Okay, so what we're going to do here now is going to erase a little bit here because this gray kind of was bothering me. It kind of gives it a smoky effect, but it's still kind of a nuisance. I'm going to create an empty layer and apply the image there. So now that we have an overall, I'll go ahead and close these out while I'm here. No, I don't need to save. Alright, baseball guy, you're out of here. And the Brooklyn background out of here. Now, I feel 100% honestly okay with sending the sample like this. There's nothing wrong with it. I think it's got enough space on the bottom. It represents the brawler. Like I said, I originally wanted to go with that whole brown kind of dirty hat cigar look feel to things. I didn't really see much of him as a baseball player, and I didn't know until about 2 seconds ago he was kimchi. So call me a bad wrestling fan if you want to. But going off the Brooklyn Brawler, the main character I saw as a kid. So that's kind of where we based it on. I think that was his most popular gimmick. And like I said, yeah, I like it the way it is. It could make a few minor adjustments and take the dodge tool. There are a couple spots where I feel like things are a little too dark. So if we just zoom in a little bit closer, we take a look at it. I want to make sure that we put the exposure somewhere a little bit lower, kind of brighten up some of these spots. Make sure that I didn't miss anything by being too out. When you work in, sometimes you gotta go back and hit up some spots that you might have missed that weren't as blended as well. So I'm gonna come in here and add some black to just to make sure that that's super blended and it's where I need it to be. Come through here, make sure everything's good, and so brighten this up a little bit. Also, I'm gonna take the blur. I'm gonna take a brush, go down to about 10. Just kind of smooth out the edges, kind of blend everything a little bit better. It's a trick that I learned and found through a friend who suggested it, and has really been a game changer. I don't know if Chris, if you're out there still, but thank you. I'm still using that tip. Kind of want to add some black there, and yeah, I think we're done. Now the only thing I could do I think I'm pretty done with it like it is. The only other thing I would do if I want to take it another step further would be to apply another layer. So it's basically that layer, and again, it's so I don't destruct this layer if I don't like the effect or what I wind up doing. But going back to Topaz Adjust, and kind of just playing around with the different effects. There's one that I have in my favorites that is an autumn that really has a deep rich color, and it really, it's called autumn, so it honestly really makes it pop that much. See, but what I was thinking about doing was doing some levels of that and doing maybe 60%, 70%, and then taking a look and being like before and after. Could also do a crisp warm. That's a crisp winter. Like that. Then lower that. So yeah, that's just 2 extra steps. I don't think we'll keep those. I think we'll just go with something like that. I will go to save. Call this 8x10 custom brawler. Call it main. Make sure it's on my desktop. But yeah, that's what we got going on, folks. I thank you guys for checking this out. It's the first one I've done. Let me know if you like this. Let me know if there's anything else you want to see in the comments, and if there's any other questions or any other topics besides, doing a type of speed art. If you got any business questions, remember, guys, I've been here 10 years. I started out just like everyone else as a fan. I eventually went to wrestling school, got trained, and as a part of being the part of the office and being a referee, I made myself a valuable part of the team by teaching myself Photoshop, teaching myself to do these things. So like I said, 10 years of putting in actual work and actually building the company, actually going through my trials and tribulations. So ask away, guys. I don't want you to make the same mistakes, and if I can be of help in any way, give you guys advice, I'm just a message away. Thanks.